let's begin a file for ourselves. So I'll click on New. And as I click on New, you notice that I have this untitled file. Simply means that I haven't given a name to the file. I haven't saved the file yet. Creating a file in this IDE is very simple. I'm over here on my right side, and I will simply begin to type, and here I will have the classic public class hello world. Now you'll notice that typing is important. You'll notice that the keywords public and class are a certain color blue. I've got some color coding, and that's very helpful to me as I write my programs. And you notice that this name of my class is a little darker blue. Now as I begin my class, I will enter my curly bracket that bounds the beginning and ending of the class. Here they are, my beginning and ending curly brackets, and note the color coding. I'll have my main method. Note again the color coding as I put that ending parenthesis in, and I will bound my main method. I'll simply have it print out that classic hello world. And you'll note that the string is in red, again color coding to help me. My ending parentheses, again demarcation, and here I am. Now I've written, I believe, a valid program. I want to compile it, and in order to compile it, I'll just go up here and click on Compile. Now I have not yet saved this file, and I get this warning. I have to save it and all modified files. Do I want to do so? Yes. As I click, I'm presented with this, and you'll have either this if you're on a Mac or a very, very similar interface if you're on a PC. It'll ask me where I want to save, and I'll be able to do so, saving, let's pick a nice place, right into here, and I'll save it. Notice that it defaults saving the file, giving it the name hello world, which is indicated here in the file itself. That's the name I want to save this file as, and my Dr. Java defaults to that name. And I'll do so. I'll save it. And here I am. It's been saved. And notice now that on the left side, it is now not untitled, but rather hello world.java. Having compiled it, or what's happened here is I clicked to compile. I was told you have to save first. I did so, and then I immediately had that file compiled. I'll now run it. Now you'll note down at the bottom that I've got this message under compiler output, and I defaulted down here to compiler output as soon as I compiled that file. It's telling me that my compilation was complete. If I now click on Run, notice that I go over to the tab that says Interactions. My interactions are that my file ran and printed out hello world as I had wanted it to. So as I compile something, I'll get my compilation output. As I run it, I'll get my interactions. Now you'll note that if I introduce an error here, let's just introduce this error, that I will forget that ending semicolon. And when I compile, notice that I'm asked to save, and I'll do so. As I save it, it is then automatically compiled, or in this case, I have the attempt to compile, but my compilation has failed. And I have here the compiler output, and it's telling me that I have an error. This IDE will give you the errors, give you an indication of where the error is and what the error is, or at least give you some hints. And here I see that indeed on line 5, I have the error of a missing semicolon. Shows me right where it thinks the error is. I'll add that semicolon back, recompile, saving it first. I have a clean compilation. Here I am. I'll run it. I'm all set. Now this class does not have any interactions to it, that is, any input by the user. I have another file here. It's called Array Demo, one that I've written before. And this one asks for some user input. And as I compile it, I hadn't made any changes to it since its last compilation, so it didn't ask me to save it again. Notice that the IDE is very, very friendly. If I haven't made any changes, it won't ask me to save again. If I have made changes, it forces me to save. And so I have a clean compile, as I see here, and now I will run. And as I run it, I'm into the interactions. This class asks me to enter the number of grades for a series of students, and then we'll calculate the average of those grades and tell me how many grades are over and how many grades are under that average. I'll simply enter 2, and notice that I must put my cursor in here in the text input box. And so I'll say I'm going to enter in 2 grades. I'm then asked what's the grade for student number 1, and I'll give student number 1 a 100. I'll give student number 2 a 90. My program calculates the average of those 2 numbers, tells me how many students are above and how many students are below that average, and I see that with 190 entered, my average is 95, I have 1 above and 1 below. It works just fine. I want you to notice, though, that I have the interactions, and I can scroll through them, and what I've had in these interactions are that which I intended to be output to the user, a space, a text box, in which the user could enter in the information, and again the processing, more information entered and output to the user. The last tab that we're interested in right now is this JavaDoc. What the JavaDoc instruction does is it creates those HTML pages using those comments entered in JavaDoc format, and we've talked about that before, and creates the HTML pages that are useful to people who will use that code. And notice that you have a destination directory presented or suggested or asked for right here. This input will come up and you're asked, where do you want me to put those HTML pages? I'll select that place, and those pages generated, the HTML pages generated through the JavaDoc command, will be created and saved in that directory. I'm not going to do that right now, but that is a capability that we'll be using. So what we're interested in here, these tabs are our compile, our run, and our JavaDoc. Here, we're interested in the new and the open. New will create a new file for me or allow me to start writing, as I here have selected new, and I can go on my way writing code. Of course, I have at the top a number of menu items. I have the capability under File to do New, Open folder, and all of that, and I'll let you explore that. Under Edit, I have a number of capabilities, the tools, the project, debugger, language level, and I'll leave those for you to explore. If I want to close the files that I have open, I'll go to File, and I can select Close to close the individual files, or I can close all. I'll select Close All, and they are done. To exit out of Dr. Java, I'll simply select to quit. I found Dr. Java to be rather easy, intuitive for students. This has been a quick tour